Guys, it's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video. So it looked like the love Cleveland had a little bit for SHEDEUR Sanders has gone. They wasted no time to paint a picture that, oh my God, he couldn't get through his progressions in time. This is why he won't be the starter. Here go these narratives that they're deciding to paint. Do they know something we don't know? Because last time I thought this is practice. This is getting ready for the season. This isn't a game. Y'all reporting on this stuff like it's a game. This ain't a football game. This is training camp. So if the offensive line might not know the plays, it's new plays, it's a new head coach, it's a new offensive coordinator, it's a whole new system. Why is we singling out SHEDEUR for not breaking the huddle in time when it's a whole new system? Guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like the video, hype the video, and this is what I'm telling you. Now they even saying, right, if the season was to start tomorrow, they don't even want to see SHEDEUR. What? Did y'all not see the dimes he was throwing yesterday? Did y'all not see the laser dart passes he was throwing yesterday? What do y'all mean? Y'all want Deshaun Watson still? The man that was opening up training camp throwing picks? Not once, not twice. I believe he threw like 3 already. And then shout out to Rizzo, but ESPN Tracker ain't even telling y'all dude out there throwing picks. They're trying to convince the public to justify them potentially starting Deshaun Watson. Keep telling y'all this, and if they start him, I'm SHEDEUR. I'm hella mad. Oh, I'm mad. I'm mad that he even synced the light of day the way he playing, bro. But with all that being said, I want y'all to listen to this. Listen to ESPN Cleveland this morning, bro. Right now.
A lot of blitzing. Failure to release the ball on time. To me, after one day each against the number ones, the biggest difference between Watson and SHEDEUR, from what I see, is, and maybe it's because of his experience, at least Watson gets the ball out. Now, it was intercepted twice on Wednesday, but and SHEDEUR has more of a tendency to tuck it in and run or wander with it. And that yesterday showed up partly because the offensive line is that's not solidified yet. And there was pressure from all angles yesterday, and SHEDEUR didn't complete a lot of passes down the field.
Tony, yesterday was the story to you that the number one offense struggled and committed all these penalties and made all these mistakes, or was part of the story that the Browns defense looks like it's not going to miss a beat without Myles Garrett and Jim Schwartz?
Well, the easy answer is both. It's reassuring that the defense is looking really good right off the bat with a new coordinator, who, by the way, wasn't there yesterday. He was excused for personal reasons, Mike Rutenberg. But I think the offensive line is becoming a story. And we talked about how, it's no guarantee just because they have 5 new starters from a crappy season a year ago that everything's going to be hunky-dory. They've got to select their 5 starters, and they've got to play them together. And I think things would be better for both quarterbacks if that were the case. There was pressure from all angles yesterday, and SHEDEUR didn't complete a lot of passes down the field.
Tony, yesterday was the story to you that the number one offense struggled and committed all these penalties and made all these mistakes, or was part of the story that the Browns defense looks like it's not going to miss a beat without Myles Garrett and Jim Schwartz?
Well, the easy answer is both. It's reassuring that the defense is looking really good right off the bat with a new coordinator, who, by the way, wasn't there yesterday. He was excused for personal reasons, Mike Rutenberg. But I think the offensive line is becoming a story. And we talked about how, it's no guarantee just because they have 5 new starters from a crappy season a year ago that everything's going to be hunky-dory. They've got to select their 5 starters, and they've got to play them together. And I think things would be better for both quarterbacks if that were the case.
Tone, between the two issues that we've seen from the quarterbacks, the turnovers from Deshaun and the operational things with SHEDEUR, which in your mind is the easier one to correct?
Well, I think the interceptions are easier to correct. I mean, interceptions are going to happen, and as I always agreed with Kevin Stefanski, no two interceptions are the same, right? There's always a reason for them, and it could be beyond the quarterback. But operationally, that's the fundamental of playing the position. You have to have the offense ready to play at the snap of the football, or else you're creating your own 5-yard hole. So, and I'm not saying all those operational problems were on SHEDEUR either. I don't know. All I know is he's the quarterback, and whoever the quarterback is, they have to put an end to him.
Yeah. How much responsibility does the quarterback carry if the offense can't line up right, or if the offensive line is false starting? I'm not sure that's totally on SHEDEUR, right? No, right. Well, sometimes it is cadence. I can't begin to guess what it was yesterday. I'm too far away to hear the cadence and all that. But it's the whole story of last season, right? Was it the quarterbacks? Was it the offensive line issues? The problem was it was crappy offensive football, and that's what we saw yesterday. And Monken's got to correct it.
Tony, how hard do you think this is to fix? And, Chris was saying couldn't fix it. I mean, he just kept saying, we got to be better, we got to coach better, we got to, right. And then it never happened. I imagine, how do you think Monken is going to handle those mistakes differently than Kevin did?
Well, I think he would be more quick to make positions, to make lineup changes if it's the offensive line. If it's they had KT Levinson at right guard yesterday. They're kind of auditioning a right guard. First day it was Tevin Jenkins. Yesterday was Levinson. Today it might be Jack Conley. It's the same thing they did at minicamp. Mason Graham owned him yesterday. I mean, Mason Graham lived in the backfield on the running plays. He had like 3 tackles for loss on the running plays. Get him out of there. If the right guard is not doing the job, put in another one. But we're not at that stage yet. They're still auditioning, and that to me is what Monken will do. He and Warhop will settle on his offensive line starters, and then just let them work and develop some chemistry.
Tony, it'll be Watson back with the ones again today. Do you think this is what's going to happen until the first preseason game, that we're going to be switching every day back and forth?
Maybe not necessarily all the way up to the Chicago game. Definitely until we get on to put the pads on. And I think that's Monday. The coach really hasn't said when his first day of pads will be. But once we get into next week, I would think maybe we won't see the alternating back and forth like we're seeing now. Again, it's all part of getting some continuity established with that offensive line. So, at some point they're going to leave Svano at left tackle, and they have to choose a right guard.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll see the number one quarterback emerge.
Yeah. And the right guard situation, Tony, I mean, you've been saying this since they made all those moves. Really, Elton Jenkins is the best right guard the Browns have. But he's got to play center unless somebody else can step up and play center. Do you think they've thought about, after a couple of days, just installing Jenkins at guard and trying to really solidify what's happening with the guy who snaps the ball?
Well, the question would come down to who's the better football player right now, Tevin Jenkins or Parker Brailsford? Do you want to rush the rookie center in and enable Elton Jenkins to move over? Or is right now Tevin Jenkins is a better football player than Parker Brailsford, so we got to put him on the field and move Elton Jenkins to center. That's kind of what they're deciding. And again, just like we keep saying about the quarterbacks competition, it's only 2 days of practice. Same applies to the offensive line. It's only 2 days, but it shows you what the issues are, and they have to be corrected.
Tony Grossi with us. Tony, do you think the Browns would rather have the quarterback with the highest floor or the quarterback with the highest ceiling? Meanwhile,
But you're saying both are different, correct?
Well, sort of. I mean, Tony, maybe you best, or are you trying to get the guy who can handle the basics the best?
I think he wants the best quarterback at this point of their, careers, and that player will have the higher floor and the higher ceiling, I think. And I've said before, I think it's Watson right now, just because of he's been in the league. I know he's been out for 5 years and all that, and hasn't played well, but I think Monken will decide that he still gives you the best chance to win right now. I don't think Watson's going to light up anything. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why I keep talking about next year. But as far as going to Jacksonville and going to Tampa Bay with who gives you the better chance of winning, I think right now it still looks to me like Watson.
Tony Grossi with us. Tony, what would
Now, based on everything we just heard, Tony Grossi and ESPN just say today, this is a clear indicator that they're sabotaging SHEDEUR. Being held accountable need to be Todd Monken, bro. SHEDEUR has not been receiving any first-team reps. Get down in the comments section and be prepared for Deshaun Watson to be named a starter, and watch them change the narrative, bro, when it comes to this SHEDEUR, because before this, they was all for SHEDEUR. Now, all of a sudden, oh, man, he's not getting through his progressions. Want to know why? Because he's been working with the second team. He has not been working with the first team, because if he did, he'd have his snap count down packed. But y'all can play the game if you want to.